We all related on guilt and shame. Meeting the other girls, we all felt the same thing, guilt and shame. And being with these other girls, these feelings of guilt and shame have lessened. They're not going away, and I don't know that they will. And my feelings of dirtiness and wanting to wash that off has not gone away. And I really look forward to when it does.
Rock star Marilyn Manson is under investigation.
Several women have come forward in the past couple of weeks with similar allegations of abuse against the shock rocker.
As far as other fallout goes, he has been dropped by his record label. CAA, his talent agency, has also dropped him as well.
On February 19th, 2021, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department confirmed they were investigating allegations of domestic violence involving Brian Warner, better known as the musician Marilyn Manson. The news came just weeks after nearly a dozen women, including actress Evan Rachel Wood, shared allegations of abuse against Manson. According to the LA County Sheriff's Department, the incidents under investigation occurred between 2009 and 2011. Manson has denied the allegations, saying in a statement, quote, "These recent claims about me are horrible distortions of reality. My intimate relationships have always been entirely consensual with like-minded partners. To date, he has not been charged with any crime."
That's beautiful.
One of the women who came forward in early February was model Ashley Morgan Smithline. On February 1st, Ashley posted on Instagram accusing Manson of abuse, sexual violence, physical violence, and coercion. And now she's telling her full story for the first time.
I have bonded with the 5 other main girls who went through this, and we have found such a strength in numbers. And our stories are all identical. It's disgusting. At least if you're gonna be an abusive psychopath, be original. And he wasn't.
You can go first.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the thing about the talking about the other girls and the strength in numbers. I feel like she's said that before, or at least I think Evan has said the same thing almost. So it's basically kind of like copy paste. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of feel also the same that everything they say is similar, or some stuff are pretty much the same actually, and it's also kind of funny how she says the main. I think she said 5 or 4 main women.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we all know who they are.
Yeah.
And those are the ones with the extremely similar accusations, events they claim, have happened to them. So, yeah, just from that sounds really odd. And also the thing that she says, be original. What?
What's that supposed to mean?
Yeah, because original in what? Being abusive? So it would have been better if he made different type of abuse depending on the woman, or it's just stupid thing to say, in my opinion. And again, we are not here to claim or say that she's lying, like we are lie detectors. We're not. We're just looking at the evidence. We're looking at the videos. We're looking at her lawsuit.
Yeah.
And interviews, and from there we point out the inconsistencies, and we want people to make up their own mind with the things we are pointing out, with the evidence actually. So
I fully agree on that.
Yeah. Continue with next part.
Okay, so the first thing that I noticed here was how she kept saying guilt and shame, guilt and shame, guilt and shame. And she said that 3 times right off the bat, the very first, 10 seconds of the interview. And it's like she was trying to drive this narrative home that, they are abused, tormented women, and it's just setting the tone for the rest of the interview. And the rest of the interview, follows through the same way, which you'll see. But I mean, she's just really trying to make it out like, you know, that she was extremely harmed and things like that. And also the strength in numbers part. That part gets me a lot because of the way she says it. Watch her face when she emphasizes strength in numbers. She's like, strength in numbers. It's like, yeah, you have strength in numbers because, you know, this is a coordinated attack. That's my opinion. My opinion, I won't say only, but that's my opinion here. It's more maybe strength in numbers for her to feel better about herself. The more people going after Manson and saying all these things, maybe the guilt's getting to her.
In any way.
In 2010, Marilyn Manson was a 41-year-old heavy metal icon, as well known for his music as his extreme, often controversial persona, while Ashley was a 26-year-old model working in Thailand.
I grew up out here in LA in Calabasas. My parents are both like in the industry, so I started modeling pretty young. I always wanted to act. That was my intention and my goal, but modeling monetarily came first.
Ashley had frequently worked with LA-based artist and photographer Tyler Shields, who also happened to be a friend of Manson.
A friend of mine, a photographer, Tyler Shields, had, shown him photos, and so he contacted me on the phone and said, like, who he was, and I wasn't into that type of music. I knew who he was.
Yeah, what I was thinking about is basically that she said that she was contacted through the phone and not through Facebook or whatever, because she did at some point say that she was contacted through Facebook. I think it was during The View. And I don't know. I think it's just really confusing because she says one thing, but then she goes on to, you know, completely erase that and say something else.
Yeah, she's inconsistent in her story. You also saw somewhere that she said he contacted her via Facebook, and now it's via phone.
Yeah.
Because via a photographer friend they have in common. So yeah, I mean, the inconsistency starts early on. So continue throughout the video, but yeah.
So I don't have a lot to say about this part. I guess all I will say is you can see how much her face lights up when she talks about getting out of modeling, and that Manson had opened up the gates for a acting career for her. And, you know, it's pretty clear to tell that that was her whole purpose in even having any kind of communication at all with Manson. Her whole goal was to become an actor and get out of modeling.
I knew his public persona, but it didn't, you know, mean anything to me until he said, like, and I know you're really interested in acting, and I want you to be in a film, and I want you to be in a music video. And I was like, thank.
What she said here in the People interview is that he wanted her to be in a music video and a short film, but in both her statement and her lawsuit, she states that he only wanted her to be in a short film, and that raises a few question marks for me.
Yeah, but she will, in her lawsuit, she is contradicting herself.
Yeah.
Saying nothing ever happened, but also stating that there were some times where there was a full film crew in his apartment. So we don't know what's true or not because of the fact that she is contradicting herself in her own lawsuit, and by saying what she said here, and you know, her story changes all the time. So there's a cluster, and it will grow inconsistencies, which makes me doubt her and her story.
I definitely feel that.
God, like, I can go do this And he mentioned, like, knowing a lot of people in film, and I thought I could finally get out of modeling, and especially modeling overseas. So I was in Bangkok, and we talked for months. We would email, we would talk on Facebook, we would talk on the phone. We were in contact a lot. So we got to know each other pretty well. All we talked about was our favorite movies and our favorite books, and they were all the same, and we knew the same lines from the same movies, and he was so intelligent, and physically I wasn't very taken at first, but he really lured me in with just this endless intelligence, and it felt very safe, it felt very secure.
That November, after 2 or 3 months of communicating long distance, Ashley flew to Los Angeles and checked into a hotel on Hollywood Boulevard.
The reason I came out in the first place.
So Manson flew Ashley out to California from Thailand. And this took place, she claims, at least in her lawsuit, around November 2010. My big thing here is with the dating of her claims, because of everything where she, where we had found out through our Exposing Ashley account that, she was still in Thailand November 10th, and she also was to be going to London after she had left Thailand. So it just kind of makes you wonder, the legitimacy of at least the timeline. And it also makes you question the legitimacy of everything else that she is claiming.
Okay, so yeah, here we have her flying in from Asia, Thailand, I think it was. Thailand to the States, to LA, in November, when we have seen that her mother writes that she is still in Asia, in Thailand.
Yeah.
So this is a huge inconsistency, and we have Ashley is even writing under her mom's post, writing something in form of oh yeah, but we're still close, even though we're not physically close, and blah blah blah, and whatnot. So I don't know what to say. I can't believe her, because we know that her mother said she was in Thailand, and I think she was flying to London, or what was it?
Yeah, I think her mother said that she would fly to London afterwards.
Yeah. So, yeah, my take on it is that how can this be true?
Yeah. It's like her mom must be lying or something.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Is Ashley gonna call her mom a liar now, or what? I don't know. Yeah, it's very odd to me how the timeline doesn't work, doesn't.
Yeah, it sure is a bit strange.
Yeah.
We were in love, and we were friends, and he was casting me in something, and I was gonna be able to act. But he flew me out, he put me up the Roosevelt, he brought his bottle of absinthe and had cocaine with him. And he came with his assistant, which made it more comfortable. He came with a girl that was a couple years older than me.
Yeah, what's your take on this?
Yeah, my take on this is that, first of all, I just want to credit Carrie's for pointing this out, because I didn't really think about it at first, but when you do think about it, it's a bit weird, because I think that if Ashley Walters really would be there, and because she's his assistant and it's her job to get him contacts and all that, why didn't she do anything to stop this? If this really was going on, it's like she was enabling it and just stand by and watch.
And we later know Ashley Walters, right?
Mm-hmm.
the assistant or
Yeah.
ex-assistant, is also one of the women who is claiming she was abused by Manson. And well, we have an opinion on that too, because crashing your boss's car, well, doesn't indicate to me, at least, that you're afraid of him. But so yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, she will be culpable. She was enabling it. She will be responsible legally as well
Yeah.
for the abuse she witnessed and helped him in a way with.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
she never called the cops.
no, I was thinking that it's a bit weird for her to stay even 2 years later if she put on the abuse victim jacket.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just a way for her to cover herself,
Yeah.
to match all of these stories and to make it look like, you know, I had nothing to do with it. She has to make herself a victim as well. So
Yeah, that's a really good theory, actually.
I think that's many of us, but yeah.
Yeah.
And we all, you know, hung out and had some drinks, and then, you know, he's like, "Can I kiss you?" And he was still being so romantic and so kind and normal. I went to his house the next day. It was odd. It was a hollowed out ballet studio. Billy Zane, the actor from Titanic, had lived there before him, so he had a mural of Billy Zane on the wall. So as a ballet studio, there were big, like, open rooms. The bedroom was right when you walk in to the right. Everything was black, of course, and to the left there was a glass sound booth. In the back there was the studio. There was weird furniture. There was like mounds, like big mounds of cocaine in every single room. And it was just known that that.
Okay, so what I want to say here is, so what if his house had black furniture? So what if it was dark in his apartment? Because, you know, that's his home. That's his choice to have his home the way he wants, and the way I see it, you were invited into his home. Therefore, you don't have a say on what his place is like. And if you were that uncomfortable, you should have just got up and left and moved on. Try to find a different person to get, you know, to help you with your goal to become an actor. Another thing that I want to mention about this is how she describes he had mounds of cocaine, big mounds of cocaine in his apartment. And that just doesn't seem logical. Okay, yeah, sure. You know, everyone knows that, you know, Manson did cocaine quite heavily. But I highly doubt that he had mounds of cocaine all over his apartment, just right out in the open for everybody to see. That just doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like that's just, you know, Ashley trying to continuously drive a narrative here, try to paint Manson out to be someone darker than he is.
So, yeah, her phrasing about the cocaine. It's like she's saying that, well, yes, he's rich. We all get that. He's probably one of the biggest singers of all time at this point, and is at the top of his career. But I don't think he would spend like that much amount of money on cocaine. Like he would have, like you said, big bags of flour of coke, but with cocaine instead, and just pour it out. It just sounds so weird. And
yeah, you see her in the video, like making big piles in every room, and like, yeah, you know, that amount just sounds ridiculous to have in every single room or at all, in a way, because come on, what the fuck are you gonna do? And also her way of saying that it was dark in his house, in his apartment, and it was strange furniture.
yeah,
What kind of strange furniture are you talking about? Like, It wasn't dark. We could see in the pictures it was like white walls, and
Yeah.
I think it's dark in my house. I have a dark gray wall behind me. I mean,
Yeah. Other than my posters, I have a green wall behind me, but like it's like she's talking about the actual Iron Maiden. Like that's a weird thing to have in your house.
yeah, yeah. I mean, no, to have curtains is not weird. To keep it a little bit dark is not weird. So
No.
yeah, it's trying to make a picture of everything is strange and weird and not normal and whatnot to
Yeah.
create like a mood of what's gonna happen.
Mm.
That's my opinion, at least. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I 100% agree.
Was how it was, and his absence was, you know, I guess in boxes, you know. It was odd. Like, he was odd. I knew he was odd. Like, he looks odd. I didn't think I was going to, you know, like, leave it to Beaverland. I knew that he definitely, like, was darker than I was, but he didn't express any of that to me. Like, again, I didn't listen to that kind of music, but slowly, you know, these things were slow. Like, the first couple nights we hung out, I was allowed to sleep and he slept. And then it was little things that, like, you know, we were shooting and all of the windows were blacked out, so he would lie to me about what time it was and tell me, oh, it's only midnight. And it was, you know, maybe 6 in the morning and it was late outside. And
All right, obvious one. First of all, if you don't know what time of the day it is, open a dang window. Pull the curtain aside, peek outside. Do you see a sun? Do you see it's dark? Check your phone. If you don't have your phone, check the stove. I know Manson had a clock on his stove, which would have told her what time of the day it was. Ask a friend. Ask someone else there with the camera crew who has access to, you know, a clock. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm baffled by, you know, what she's saying here. Like, it's infantile.
What's your take on this?
First of all, he's like emphasizing several times he's odd. He was odd. He was odd. He looked odd. Well, she knew who he was, so his looks should not be surprising for her. That's one of the first things. And I mean, all about that, she has no clue what time it is. And well, before that, it started slowly. She says that it started slowly. The first couple of days, I was allowed to sleep, and he slept and whatnot. But in her lawsuit, and also in the other interview, she's claiming that immediately the abuse happened. Immediately, like the first day.
Mm.
Raped. He tied her up and he raped her. So again, here we have inconsistencies. Here she says several days he was fine, he was normal, he was calm, she was allowed to sleep and whatnot. But in the lawsuit and in the other statements she's saying it started immediately. So
yeah, I think I agree. I think that's a bit contradicting.
Yeah.
And the thing about sleep, he was probably still is, I don't know, a night owl, and so he would want to very often stay up until morning and sleep until noon. So whether she went to sleep or not, I don't think he cared.
Yeah, I mean, that's her own problem, so to speak. I mean, she's a grown woman. And also the thing with they blacked out every window, so she didn't know what time, if it was daylight or not. Step outside, check the windows yourself. You're a grown woman. You traveled back and forth during your so-called relationship with him for 3 years. You couldn't check what time it was. You couldn't go outside to see if it was 6 o'clock in the morning or 10 in the evening, night, whatever. You know, come on. Don't make it look like you were in prison or you were in a bunker or something. You were in an apartment. Go outside and check your phone, check whatever, you know.
Yeah, I think he had a digital watch in his kitchen as well, so she could have just checked that also.
Yeah, she making it sound like she was captive. She couldn't move. She was just kept in a corner and couldn't do anything. So yeah, I mean, it sounds strange and not believable one bit, to me at least.
No, I agree. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's just the lies got more and more. Like what I've read about getting someone into a cult is you deprive them of food, you deprive them of sleep, and you deprive them of talking to anyone. So like all those things were true. Like if I would fall asleep at 1 in the morning, he would start playing really loud music and wake me up, and then I had to go do a line of cocaine to wake up and keep partying with him and entertain him. And more than that, give him attention and reaffirm.
So do you want to start or should I?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking, wait, what did you say? What did you say? Yeah, about the music thing. If she didn't like it, she could have just, I don't know, gone outside, mind her own business. Because she's not a toddler and she's not a child. She's a grown woman. She could have just left. It's not like she was, like you said, in a bunker.
Yeah. I mean, everything she's talking about is just, she could have easily just walked away.
Yeah.
I mean, just step outside and say no and go. And why make it sound like he's the reason you took cocaine? Because you had to stay awake to entertain him, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
That's your own choice.
Yeah.
Don't make it sound like you had to do it because you were not allowed to sleep, so because I had to entertain him.
Yeah, no, that's not his problem. That's your problem.
Yeah, just because pile, as she said, piles of cocaine around in every room doesn't mean you have to snort it up. Doesn't mean you have to take it. You don't have to use it just because it's there in front of your face.
Yeah. I mean, if she really wanted to wake up, she could have also just made some cup of coffee. I don't know.
Exactly. If you want to sleep, if he doesn't allow you to sleep or whatever it was that he was playing music or creating music and you couldn't sleep because it was too loud, go someplace else. It's his home.
Yeah. Or at least just ask him to turn it down.
Yeah, whatever. There's so many, and if you didn't like the way he treated you, walk away. You have to just understand that this is the beginning, as she said it, in the relationship, because it's just a couple of days he was nice and then it started the lies and she couldn't continue because you can see in the video that she's like looking for things to say. But okay, yeah. So this is the beginning. So let's say maybe like 2 weeks, walk away. I mean, you couldn't have had that much of a connection with somebody you thought were odd and looked odd. And the way she said that did not like, I mean, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound like she liked him even. So walk away, you know?
Yeah, she really emphasized that as well, so.
Yeah, many times he was odd, he was really odd, he looked odd. I'm like, okay, well, walk away, you know? And now you're saying treated you bad, you weren't allowed to sleep, you had to take cocaine, okay, to be awake so you could entertain him, well, walk away. It's that simple. This is the beginning, so
Yeah. It's not hard.
One other thing I want to say about this is she says that Manson would start blaring music at like whatever time in the morning it was. And it would startle her and she would wake up and she'd have to do a line of cocaine. Okay, well, first of all, that's Manson's place. He could, play his music as loud as he wants, and he's a performing artist. Of course he's going to be doing that. He was in the middle of making an album. He's going to be playing his music repetitively over and over, loud, so, to see if it's the way he wants it. I mean, that only makes sense. And then for you to say, oh, I had to get up and go do a line of cocaine, that's your problem. Like most normal people would say, go get a cup of coffee or drink a Monster or something. But, the cocaine addiction should not be pinned on Manson. It just shouldn't. It wasn't forced down your throat. It wasn't forced up your nose. So, yeah.
How great his music sounded, how wonderful he was, and even when he was abusive, sometimes he would be joking and funny, and then sometimes he would be the most terrifying monster in the world. Like.
So what's your take on her smiling?
Well, yeah, when she's talking about abuse is just wrong. I don't think I can't remember seeing anyone smiling when they're talking about somebody abusing them. I didn't. I never do. I've been abused. Nor will I ever smile when talking about it. I was now a little bit because this is just, I can't begin to, no, but it's so odd. You don't do that. You don't really, I've never seen anyone smile. And she smiles, that's big smile, smirk on one side of her face. It's not like she's trying even to hide it, because she can't. She can't really hide it. You could clearly see it. So yeah, that's strange and tells me that this is not true. Yeah. What's your take?
Yeah, I think that her smiling is a big tell that none of that happened. Because, like you said, you don't smile when you speak about abuse, because when my dad speaks of his experience, he doesn't smile. He sounds rather sad, which he has every right to be. And when I speak about it, I don't smile. I feel sad and angry. So it's not something that you should be smiling at when you speak of, because it's sad and it's horrifying.
Yeah, and that's the thing with you could see it coming through this whole video, that we all have body language and we all learn it as we grow up. But different things. It's not just our mouth speaking, it's our face, how we use it, and our body. Yeah. To smirk, to smile while talking about abuse that you endured is not normal. No. It's not what people do. So this is a common thing. I mean, this is something we all know without having to go to school about it to learn like body behavior. This is
Yeah.
normal stuff. Nobody talks. If you talk about horrible things and smile, everybody would find it odd.
Yeah. I think, yeah, like I said, it's a
We
big
would think it's not normal. Yeah. So this comes out to me as a lie because it's not normal to smile and not that, definitely not that big
no.
when talking about abuse that happened to you. So yeah.
She's not even trying to hide it, or if she's trying to, she's not doing a good job.
No, 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 no.
I mean, it's
it came
something to be
natural.
happy about, that kind of stuff.
No. Yeah.
So
No, doesn't add up. It's
very odd.
it's strange.
He would say things like, "Do you know I could kill you right now?"
According to Ashley, the verbal and psychological abuse soon turned physical.
The first time that he, I didn't know that you could rape someone that you were in a relationship with. And there's a difference between waking up to someone having sex with you nicely in the morning and waking up tied up with someone having sex with your unconscious body. Like being tied up and...
So, okay, here she's saying that it's a difference between waking up to somebody having sex with you nicely in the morning and waking up to being tied up and someone's having sex with you and your unconscious body. I mean, to me, it kind of sounds like the same thing.
Yeah, because, I mean, both of the things she described is without consent. So in the form of you need to have consent for everything, both of them are rape. Both of them. And the fact that she said she had no idea you could be raped in a relationship, I mean, come on, stop it. But yeah.
I mean, it's very sad and it's very terrible, but it's absolutely possible, sadly.
Yeah, of course it's horrible. But she makes it sound like she has no idea of the world. She has no idea of anything. And this is a woman, we have to remember, this is a woman who has traveled a lot. And she's in a tough business.
Yeah.
Being a model is not easy. It's a lot, it's very competitive. And, so she should know more than what she's portraying. She does. And she said, like, she was implying at least that she was tied up and he was having sex with her unconscious body. She's not saying why she's unconscious. It's like she's leaving it open for people to make their own explanation to it, like, oh, maybe he knocked her out or, abused her so much she was unconscious and then he tied her up. Or it could be that she just was strung out from many days of doing coke. Could be that. Not explaining it. So
yes, she's like leaving like a very big hole for everyone to try and fill in. It's
that's what I'm wondering, why you're unconscious. What happened? So yeah.
I think only she knows that part.
Yeah, she's the only one, of course, but this whole thing so far is just, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds almost the same as some of the others, let's be honest. Yeah. So, well, it's gonna get worse down this whole interview, so.
Yeah, it's not even been 10 minutes.
Unconscious body, like being tied up and screaming and not enjoying it, and him like laughing like sadistically, or like, you know, gagging my mouth or something. And then we didn't really speak of it. I wasn't allowed to speak of it. I never stood up to him ever because I knew that would be more abuse, more torture. And I didn't want it. There was a time where there was like, during a rape, there was a struggle, and my nose broke and I flew back overseas. Like I flew through Narita, the airport in Japan, with a broken nose. It's not comfortable to fly 17 hours with a broken nose. I had a bridal shoot the next day and I had bruises on my eyes. I looked terrible, and they said what happened, and I said I fell down.
All right, notice here that she says, when she talks about gagging her mouth, she says, or something. Well, the or something part, you know, shows that, you know, she's not solid in what she's saying. I've seen several videos on body language and how to tell the truth, and, you know, how to decide if someone's lying, excuse me. And the one thing was whenever they say like kind of, or I think, and then here she says or something. Like that doesn't sound very like qualifying to me. It doesn't sound that she's sure of what she's saying. One other thing that I want to point out here is as she's talking about the alleged abuse that she went through, you can notice, if you pay attention, that she's swallowing extremely hard. And that's another thing I've seen in body language videos is when someone is lying, it'll make their throat go dry. So they will swallow hard. That's just something that, you know, that they even use for like the FBI for profiling, that kind of thing. So yeah, so pay attention to that too. You see any kind of hard swallows, that's another sign that she's not being honest.
So, what do you want to say about this?
She's talking about the broken nose, and how she had to fly 17 hours. I think it was to Japan, and she had a bridal shoot the next day, and her eyes were filled with bruises and whatnot. There should be so many photos of that, because I'm assuming, by the way she was talking, that she had the shoot. She looked horrible, but she had to go through with the shoot. So there has to be hundreds of photos of her bruises or her broken nose, which would be swollen, I guess. So where are they? In my opinion, I mean, she posted that Pinterest photo. That wasn't even her. Obviously, and if that really happened with her broken nose and all, I'm sure she would have posted something about it a long time ago. But there's nothing, and there should be medical records, right? Because her nose looks kind of good, you know. It looks straight. A broken rarely heals straight and nice. So, I mean, where's the medical record of you fixing your nose?
Yeah.
That's evidence that could help her. And there should be photos of, because she was at the bridal shoot the next day, so there should be plenty of untouched photos of her broken nose, her bruises and whatnot. That's really good evidence for her, but where are they?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that yeah, I was about to say that I think it's pretty much, it's not impossible to edit out a broken nose and fix a new one, but even if it would have been photoshopped and she would have had a new nose on the photos, the original photos would still be there, or at least one or two.
Yeah.
And she would have had to pay a lot of money for surgery because, like you said, it it really heals nicely.
Yeah.
So
So, well, further down the entry, we're gonna see her contradict herself. So let's just continue, and we will have a laugh.
yeah.
You know, like what any battered, abused woman said. You start telling lies, and then I just got, like I said, I was a light, happy, generous, caring, outgoing-ish person, and then I was a secretive, scared little girl. There was always people there at the house. His band, the assistant, friends, people with lights, because we were shooting all the time our movie or the music video or whatever.
Here Ashley says that she was a little girl. Well, last time I checked, she was 26 years old. That is a woman, a grown woman, and her trying to call herself a little girl is trying to paint this innocent, naive picture of herself. Which, no, you're 26 years old. When I was 26, I had 2 kids. Like, I had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old by that point. A full-time job. Like, you're not a child if you're 26 years old. You're a grown-ass woman.
Okay, so what do you have to say?
Well, she is saying there were also a lot of people there.
Mm.
They were shooting the movie or the music video or whatever, as she just brushes it off with whatever. Where are those people? They should have seen everything. Besides his assistant, the Ashley Walters, because as she said, there was always a lot of people there.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah, I think that if they would have noticed something, because there was always so many there, according to her, because they were always doing something. So I think that someone would notice something, if not physically, then probably mentally, maybe.
Yeah, and also bruises. She said she had. I mean, that's not a mansion he was living in. He was living in an apartment. There's limited space there. So if there's always people there, as she describes, besides his assistant, I'm surprised no one else have come forward. Besides these cluster of just a few women, as she said, the main women, 4 or 5, whatever you must remember. So yeah, it's very odd. And you could see just a little bit before this, she was talking about that somebody asked her, oh, what happened with her nose?
Yeah.
And she said, oh, you know, like all battered women do. We said I fell, I tripped and fell, whatever. But still, this is evidence.
This is real strong evidence. But
Yeah,
it would
could help her. Where are they? Yeah, it's just
so.
It's a bit frustrating, but yeah.
Yes. As people started to trickle out, I was always like looking to his assistant, who's a friend of mine still, Ashley, and we would look at each other like, it's gonna get bad. You know, like as soon as everyone starts leaving, he turns off the charm and the monster would come out.
The alleged physical and sexual abuse began soon after Ashley and Manson first met in 2010.
So once again, we see her swallowing hard whenever she says that when everyone would leave, he'd turn off the charm and the monster would come out. You can see that she's struggling with herself to even say that by her body language. Also, the 20 to 300 rape thing. Anyone who has truly been raped would know, or at least a roundabout number as to how many times it happened, not a 280 difference. Okay, 20 to 300. And then she goes, I don't know. Once again, it's one of those disqualifiers. She's saying when she's shaking her head, she doesn't know. Well, maybe she doesn't know because it didn't happen.
Hello, it's me, Ella. I'm currently editing the video right now, but I just wanted to add some more commentary. I don't know if it's commentary, but like, do y'all notice how they said alleged abuse? Or is that just me? Because alleged abuse, yeah, I don't know, that doesn't sound credible at all to me. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out, and yeah, let's get back to the video, and I hope y'all enjoy it.
While Manson claims his intimate relationships have always been entirely consensual, according to Ashley, the rapes became too frequent to count.
Countless. I mean, it was from 2010 to 2012. I can't. I mean, between 20 and 300. I don't know.
What's your take on this?
My take on this is that if it would have really happened, she wouldn't be so. I mean, she would have actually remembered how many times it actually happened and when it happened, or at least kind of, unless she was drugged or whatever. But I also think that saying this is kind of, I mean, very offensive to those who are actual victims of this this kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, just the fact that she said it happened from 2010 to 12. The lawsuit, the whole relationship is till 2013. From 20 to 300 different rapes. That's a huge span.
yeah,
And it's a very strange number, 20 to 300, many. She doesn't quite remember. I mean, if she would have said like 20 to 30, okay, I can understand that, you know, because it's just 10 different, just a difference of 10 rapes, but from 20 to 300, that's really odd. And it's just like she's just picking any numbers. This sounds good. No, it doesn't. It sounds ridiculous and it doesn't sound true.
yeah, she's like very good at cherry picking numbers and pulling things like that out of her ass just to try and sound credible. So I think I can at
It
least
doesn't
give
sound
her that. She's very good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it doesn't sound credible at all. 20 to 300 rapes. Like, you know, yeah, that's what a number. What a strange number.
Divide all that with two years.
Yeah, so, and we have to remember she flew back and forth to Asia, and he was touring, I think, and he was also dating other women, Lindsay, his wife, his now wife. Yeah, so apparently he was very busy and managed within a couple of months, because they weren't with each other this whole 2 years span she was talking about. So if it was 300 rapes, that's a lot in a couple of months.
Yeah, that would be at least.
But then again, she doesn't remember. It was between 200 and 300.
I mean, 300 rapes in 2 years, that would be at least a couple of times a day.
Yeah. Again, they were not together every day for 2 years. So yeah, it's it's a ridiculous number. It just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah,
So,
sure does.
yeah.
It just got more and more violent as time went on. He would cut like my ribs, my he didn't hit my face. Like he you know, I was a model as a job. He didn't hit my face. He definitely cut my inside of my thighs, my inside of my elbows, my outer thighs have his initials carved into them.
When she says here that he didn't hit her face, I believe her. Like, her body language looks truthful on that. But that contradicts what she said earlier when she said that she had to go flying overseas with a broken nose. So the whole broken nose thing, I don't believe. But here when she says that he didn't hit her face, I believe that. I believe she's being honest about that. Or about the scars. Where are they? She should have very visible scars that she's talking about from being cut on her stomach, her arms, her inside of her elbows, her legs. She should definitely have some scars to show. They're not just going to magically disappear. So where are they?
What do you think about this never touching her face?
Yeah. Again, here we have it. She's going totally against what she said a couple of minutes ago. She was talking about how she went to Japan. She flew to Japan with a broken nose, and she had to have a bridal shoot the next day, and people were asking her what happened, and she said, I fell, I tripped and I fell, like any battered woman would say, make an excuse. And here she's saying he never hit her face because she was a model and she worked as a model, so he never hit her face. But I mean, what? Here's another contradiction. In the same interview, she has it's like she has no idea what she's saying. She can't remember her lie or her lies.
Yeah.
This is just ridiculous. If I were interviewing her, I would say, but you just told me that you flew to Japan with a broken nose. And the whole crew there apparently saw it, and you just gave them an excuse that you tripped. What was that about? Isn't your nose in your face? It's on your face. Like, where's your nose?
Yeah.
It's just, she's not credible. It just adds up. It's so many things adding up where there's contradiction. She's just, it's a clusterfuck of it. So, and that builds up to me actually thinking and feeling that she's lying. So,
yeah, I completely.
what's your take?
I completely agree on that. I think she said that while in her lawsuit, while she was trying to resist a rape, he he elbowed her in the face. And now in this interview, she says this, that he never touched her face.
Yeah. It's just, she's contradicting her own lawsuit and she's contradicting herself in the same interview. So yeah, it's amazing how she can't keep track of her story. And it's because it's a lie. When people can't keep track of what they have said, it indicates it's because usually when stuff happens to you, people we talk like it's flowing. You remember certain stuff, and here you can see her like think. She has to think a lot before talking.
Yeah.
And again, contradicting herself. So yeah.
Yeah. It's. I mean, if you're gonna tell a sub story, please just keep your timeline straight. And don't contradict yourself.
Yeah, not only the timeline, but stuff that happened. I mean, to just say that he never hit his face, but 2 minutes, 3 minutes earlier, you said you flew to Japan with a broken nose that he broke. Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. It sure is.
My lower stomach, and he made it very clear that I was replaceable, that I was vulnerable, that I was extinguishable, that he could kill me at any moment, and he would remind me when I was tied up or when I was whatever.
So, what are your thoughts?
Well, all the cutting in her stomach, or on her stomach, what was it, inside of her elbows, her thigh, and someplace else, I don't remember, but there's no scars. The only thing she claims to have is that that initial on her thigh. I can't see the initials at all. She should have some marks of cutting of the cuts. I mean, some scars on the stomach, on the inside of the elbows and whatnot. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. So she heals really good, or it's a lie. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that if she would have had those scars, they would have been visible in pretty much every photo that she's ever posted about her modeling career in Asia. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that people would have said something about it or questioned it. And about his initials, I can faintly see a T, like for Tom or whatever guy she was dating at that time, but I can't see no Marilyn Manson initials.
No, me neither. I can't see even the T, but yeah, I can't see initials at all. And again, I mean, she shows that in this interview on the photo shoot. But again, there should be other scars. I can't believe that every single cut healed properly.
No.
There's no trace of it ever existing. So yeah.
I still have a scar from up here from when I was a little kid. It never healed.
Yeah, I mean, I have a scar here on my pink finger here and on my hand here from a tiny ass. It hardly bled, and this is still a scar. And this is from like maybe 5 years ago. So, and this is from when I was maybe 13. So
yeah,
there. She heals really good.
Yeah, she has magical healing powers.
That I could kill you at any time. At one point, I brought up, like, do you want me to kill myself? Like, do you want me to just kill myself? So he decided it was a good idea to show me clips of different suicide scenes from movies. And I've asked the other girls that I've spoken to that are victims of him, like, what do you think his objective was? And we all agree that we think that he honestly wanted us all to kill ourselves, and that's a serial killer, no?
Yeah. Here we have her talking about him saying, no, she asked him if she was going to kill herself, and she asked the other women what they thought his intentions were, and apparently they think, and they are all agreeing that his intentions were that they were going to kill themselves, and therefore he must be a serial killer. No. He actually to kill more than 3 people in 3 different occasions to become classified as a serial killer. So no, if anyone, or 3 people or 4 or 5 people commit suicide, doesn't make a person a serial killer. So no, it's just ludicrous. It's just ridiculous, the whole thing she's saying. It's like, I can't even find words for it. It's really, really, I want to laugh, but it's so tragic in a way. But no.
I definitely feel that. But um, and I don't even know what to say. It's just so stupid because there's a difference between multiple people committing suicide and someone actually committing a crime over a period of time. It's not, especially
Yeah,
murdering someone, and it's not the same thing.
no. Apparently, obviously, she doesn't understand what a serial killer is. And okay, fine, but I don't think anything she has said so far is not credible to me. And because of her contradiction in this interview and also on her Facebook, on her mom's Facebook, other statements in her lawsuit, there's so much things, so many things that doesn't add up that this to me isn't either. So
I mean,
it just sounds ridiculous, to be honest.
Yeah, I like how she thinks she sounds so smart, but she sounds very stupid.
Yeah, that whole serial killer thing is just ridiculous. Stop it.
It's really basic knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, most people know stuff like that. It's just, I mean, if you just watch CSI, just a couple of shows of that, just a couple of, yeah, I mean, seriously, you need to watch like 2 or 3 episodes and you know what a serial killer is. So come on.
It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole suicide thing. Manson has very strong feelings about suicide. And if you have checked out our Exposing Ashley page, Ella had posted something about the times when Manson had dedicated a song to someone who was suicidal and also someone who had committed suicide at one of his concerts. I believe he also spoke to the parents of the one girl who did commit suicide. Also, he struggled with suicidal thoughts himself. So I do not believe that he wanted them all to kill themselves. But if you think about Manson, he's a movie buff. So it's possible that they sat down and watched movies that had suicidal themes in them. That's possible. But do I feel like it was because he wanted them to kill themselves? Absolutely not. And just to clarify, all this does not make Manson a serial killer. He hasn't killed anybody. All the accusers are alive. So to compare him to a serial killer, that's just insanity.
According to Ashley, Manson would also lock her inside a small soundproof room for extended periods of time.
So I thought it was bigger than a phone booth. You could stretch out. It wasn't cramped or anything, but you were definitely put in there on timeout if he had people over and you were annoying him. He thought he would, I don't know what he thought. I can't imagine, to know what a sociopath thinks. He'd say things all the time you just love to piss me off. So when I was pissing him off, if I had to go pee while he was replaying one of his songs I'd heard 30,000 times, I'd have to go in the box. Without my phone, without anything. And the other girls that I've talked to have experienced the same thing, but it was a timeout punishment space. I think sometimes he forgot I was there because he was so drugged out or drunk or whatever. I think the longest I spent in there was maybe 6+ hours, which is isolation like that isn't natural. It's not normal. It's so weird. There was so much abuse. There was so many things, of him just even shoving his fist in my mouth, that could have killed me, putting the pillow over my face a little too long. I was afraid for my life every single moment I was with him, but more I was afraid that he was going to get rid of me and find someone else. And that's really sick. That's very brainwashed.
What we know about the soundproof room is it didn't have a lock on it. And according to Paula, If you go to Colonel Kurtz's YouTube channel, you can see an interview with his ex-assistant Paula. She had said that it was mostly used as a storage space. But the fact that it was, found out that there was no lock on it completely blows up these claims here. And then when she talks about it, she has a huge smile on her face. Like, if that actually happened to you, and if it was that terrifying to you, why would you sit on TV with a huge grin on your face talking about it? Like, you just wouldn't.
Please.
Yeah, there are two things I want to point out. And the first one is that she is terrible at hiding her smirk or smile or whatever. It's like she's proud of herself rather than feeling sorry for herself or whatever, which is really weird. And then she says that there was so much abuse, but if I feel like if there would be so much abuse that she says, she would have posted pictures of it on whether it may be on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever. She would have posted it and probably sent it to court as well, because that would have been strong evidence, just like the broken nose.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Merck, she can't hide it. She's done it several times now, where she's literally smiling. I'm smiling a little bit because it's so obvious. She can't hide it, and yeah, and that little timeout space she's talking about is according to his another assistant he had working for him, Paula. She said it was like a storage room, pretty much. It was used as that, and it had no lock. And it's funny, she knows how funny, but it's funny that she knows how long she was locked up in there, 6 plus hours, when she had no phone. She had no idea what time it was, apparently, because she was totally clueless. They were lying to her and whatnot, but she could comprehend and she could somehow understand that she was apparently locked inside that room for 6 plus hours. So that's things are not adding.
No, exactly.
She was without her phone and anything and everything, but what you were without what? You had your phone. We could see you writing stuff. We can still see that you have written stuff on your mom's Facebook. So
It's still up for everybody to see.
yeah. So I mean, it doesn't add up.
No. And I don't think she would be wearing a watch either. Like you said, she somehow felt like 6 plus hours.
Yeah, she could comprehend that, to get that time frame out, that it was like a 6 plus hours she was locked in there, but she couldn't understand if it was day or night. I mean, it doesn't, come on.
She could have at least worn a fucking watch or whatever.
Yeah, something. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And also the fact that she was pointing out that she had heard the same song if she interrupted him after hearing the same song 30,000 times.
Yeah.
Go outside, step outside.
Yeah, and about that, it's something that every performing and recording artist does. They repeat their songs over and over and over again until they think it's perfect. It's just how music business works.
Yeah, it's uncommon. So, I mean, if it was so disturbing for her, walk away. Again, she was traveling back and forth to Asia, so she was not confined in his apartment. She was allowed. She was free to leave whenever she wanted to.
Yeah.
So go, walk outside, go away. I don't believe she was locked in there. I think even Leslie posted photos of that booth. It
Yeah.
had no lock. Yeah, it had no lock.
No.
So,
She really likes to contradict herself.
and again, you have his assistant, Ashley Walters. She saw
Yeah.
everything. If she saw somebody being locked up inside a booth or whatever, a smaller room
Yeah.
for 6+ hours, why don't you call the cops? Stop it. I think even, was it Paula or Leslie? I don't remember now. Who pointed out that there was a police station close nearby his apartment.
Yeah, I think that could have been Paula. I think.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even have to walk far to a police station. It was actually that close and that simple. And to be honest, if he had those piles of cocaine in every single room in his home, shit, he would have been in prison just on the cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, it
So
sure does.
that's my take.
Yeah, same here. So,
And I've, reread messages where I was like, anything to make you feel loved. If I have to hurt for you to feel loved and cared about, that's okay. Like, who says that? Like, who thinks that way? Who thinks that low of themselves? And I was just afraid. I was afraid if I didn't push it as far as he wanted, that he'd find someone who would. I didn't know what BDSM was, and a lot of people are like, you knowingly entered into a BDSM relationship. Like, I don't know what that is now even, and I've seen like 50 Shades of Grey. Like, I didn't know what that was then, and that wasn't what he presented at all. Like, he didn't say, like, we're gonna have a relationship where you're gonna kneel down or lay on the bed and I'm gonna whip you with a swastika whip, or I'm gonna cut you while we're having sex, or we're gonna have a blood pact. I'm gonna drink your blood, you're gonna drink mine. I didn't know, like, I mean, obviously I knew that was weird, but there was something, like, I was already taken.
so what's your take on this?
Ridiculous, but yeah, first of all, while she's talking about the BDSM thing and she has no idea what that is, here she can't even hide the smile. She's actually laughing as well, because she knows what it is. We have seen that she knows what it is.
Yeah.
And she's claiming that she still doesn't understand what it is. But what was it, her safe word?
Keep going.
That's her own words. That's her own post. So that whole thing, I mean, she's laughing while she's saying it because she thinks it's funny that, at least that's my opinion, that she knows she's lying, and
Yeah.
this is, yeah, she's thinking she's getting away with it, that it sounds credible. She's laughing pretty much in our faces, actually. So yeah.
And the fact that she says that she's seen 50 Shades of Grey, but she still doesn't know what BDSM is.
Yeah,
That's
doesn't
just
know.
crazy.
Yeah. No, this is just ridiculous. I mean, it's just getting worse and worse by the time, I mean, further into the interview. So, yeah.
Yeah, and she knows what safe word is, but she doesn't know what BDSM is.
So what do you use the safe word for? Come on, stop it. Yeah.
That's so dumb.
Okay, well, here we have her talking about the blood pact. Supposedly, Manson never told her that they were going to do a blood pact. But if you check our Exposing Ashley page, We have her initial allegation that she posted on Instagram. And in that, she posts a supposed email from Manson where he says, first 5 minutes, we're going to do a blood pact. But here she is on People Magazine saying that he never said anything like that, that's not what he presented. Oh, and then she also has to bring up the swastika whip. You know, we always have to bring up the Nazism. I don't know. I just can't with her. And also the whole BDSM thing. You know, on Facebook she says her safe word is keep going. And if you know what a safe word is, it's probably pretty easy to assume, but you do know what BDSM is. Like, don't be dumb. Don't play dumb.
And I was already there. And the more I did for him, the more I let him hurt me, the more I loved him, and the more I was like proving myself to him. So I was like, he found me as a vulnerable shell of a person, and he hollowed me out more and more and more. There were parts of him that you felt sympathy for. He longed for this like Norman Rockwell, like Leave It to Beaver, like Pleasantville life. And Thanksgiving, he demanded that we have this perfect Thanksgiving. And I was a kid, like, I think I had my mom come drop off some of her like nice dishes, and I, you know, made Thanksgiving. Like, I did the best I could. And
So, you want to speak first?
Sure. I mean, here she's talking about Thanksgiving, and that her mom dropped off some nice dishes for them because he demanded that they were gonna have a great Thanksgiving. But we have seen that her mom was in Eugene and Ashley was in Thailand. And Ashley wrote under that post her mom made. So
Yeah.
Is her mom lying and Ashley just continued with that lie because she wrote under her mom's post? Or is this true that her mom came with nice dishes? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Exactly. Because you have to remember, she doesn't state what year we're talking about.
Yeah.
And she doesn't. And I don't think she did I think in the lawsuit is 2010, actually.
Yeah, I think so too. It sounds familiar, so I think so too.
Yeah, I think it's 2010 they're referring to in the lawsuit. So 2010, her mom was in Eugene.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. So how can her mom move off?
I don't know. I think she went to Eugene like once a year for a couple of years. So
Yeah.
And I think she said in her lawsuit that he would confiscate her of her phone as well. So even if her mom would be in the same state, how would she know that Ashley was there? And how would she know about the Thanksgiving dishes and whatever?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't add up. Nothing adds up. You claimed to not have your phone. You were not allowed to have your phone, yet your mom came over with dishes. So you had to have called her.
Yeah.
And mom in there, in LA. She was somewhere else. And you were, according to your mom, you were in Thailand and were on your way to London. I mean, yeah.
And I also want to point out that I was a kid, and she just a couple of minutes before she said that I was a little scared little girl or blah blah blah. And I think that that's kind of her standing point through this whole interview, that she was young and naive and whatnot. Which, and it kind of makes her sound like she was like under 18 when they met, which they weren't.
Yeah, I mean, I think she was 27 or something.
Yeah, 25, 26, 27, something like that.
Something like that. You're a grown woman. And second, this is a person who was a model. She has traveled a lot, and I assume actually she has traveled a lot on her own.
Mm,
So she can't be that naive.
no.
Again, modeling is a hard business. It's a
Yeah.
hard career to have, actually. So she's not the naive little girl. She's first of all, by age, she's a grown woman, and by her experiences, she sounds to be a grown woman as well. So to be the way she's talking, like girl and kid, I think it's just a way for her to make her look more like a victim and more innocent and naive. So it's manipulative actually to do that. So
Yeah.
in my, she's
Like, she really likes to play the victim. It's so sad.
Yeah.
Everybody say it with me. 26 years old is not a kid. Goodness. Like, this whole, I'm a kid, I'm a kid, I'm a kid, I'm a kid. Well, you're certainly acting like one on live TV, that's for sure. You're acting like one in this interview, but you're not. And you weren't back then either. And then the whole Thanksgiving thing. Okay, well, so he wanted a perfect Thanksgiving. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, I want my holidays to be wonderful, so why shouldn't Manson want his holidays to be wonderful? You know? And then the whole dropping off the dishes. Well, we found out that her mom wasn't even in LA to drop off the dishes like she claims. And, you know, also, if she's saying she contacted her mother, doesn't that go against her claim that she wasn't allowed to tell anybody that she was even in town? She wasn't allowed communication, but yet she was able to message her mom and say, hey, I need dishes for Thanksgiving dinner. You know, I need help. I'm 26-year-old child. Like, complete contradictions here. Complete. I'm sorry, but it just like blows my mind. Like, I've heard this interview so many times, it's like I'm going brain dead because of this or something.
And it was like one of like our nicer nights. We had great times. Like, there were times we would sit and listen to our song and lie there, and he would teach me guitar, and he would, you know, have me sing on tracks, and like, there were just wonderful times, and there were horrible times. And obviously, like, the bad started to outweigh the good.
By October 2011, Ashley says she had finally had enough. After a long flight back to LA from another international modeling job, she was ready to end the relationship.
I think I knew on like that plane ride back, like, if this happens again, I'm leaving. Like, I'm done. Like, I can't do this. He's gonna kill me. Like, I'm not gonna get out alive. So we were shooting, and I had just done a wardrobe change, and then they needed to do a lighting change, and everyone knows how long that takes. That can take hours. It was 3 a.m. I wasn't keeping up with my cocaine intake. I was jet lagged, and I fell asleep, and he just screamed at me, like, in front of camera people, in front of industry people that I respected, like.
Okay, who should start talking first? Okay, so the first thing I want to say is that according to Celtic Iron, he would know. He's worked with this kind of stuff because he's been in adult films and done modeling, and so he would know. He's rather experienced, and he has said that this changing lights and clothes doesn't take more than maximum 45 minutes. So she is very wrong on on that taking hours. And second of all, I just want to say that if she could have just slept on the flights back to LA, because I checked yesterday, and it takes more than 30 hours to get from Thailand to LA with 1 or 2 stops. So she could have slept on the flights, even if she wouldn't have been tired, so to just avoid being so jet lagged. Or she could have just tried and planned this a little bit better. and she didn't have to do any cocaine. She could have just drank some coffee or whatever.
I mean, she admits herself that she wasn't keeping up with her cocaine intake. And we have to remember she was coming. Okay, that's her business, that's her problem, that's her issue.
Yeah.
I find it a bit strange and funny that in her lawsuit she claims nothing happened. There was no nothing filmed, and it was all just a scam to get her to come to LA, because she's also suing him for that being trafficked and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because he was luring her to come to LA by promising her to be in a short film and videos. But here she's actually saying yet again that they were filming, and there were people there she respected, directors and whatnot. So that wasn't a lie. Why is that in her lawsuit as if he was lying when he was not? I don't get it. She's going against her own lawsuit.
Yeah.
She's going. It's just stupid. But
again, she likes to contradict herself. Oops.
Yeah, I mean, the lawsuit clearly states that he tricked her to come.
Yeah.
Promises of a career and being in videos or film, whatever, and that never materialized. It never happened. Yet she says here they were filming and there were respected people there. So, or people she respected in the industry.
Yeah.
So what are you saying? Did it happen or did it not happen? Again, contradicting. It shows to me that she's lying.
Yeah. That itself should be a really big tell, I think, if you look at both the lawsuit and this video.
There's not many things adding up, to be honest. There's contradictions, then stuff actually falling into place between her lawsuit and what she's saying here. She's even contradicting herself several times in this interview. So yeah. It's a train wreck. It's a train wreck. Yeah.
I agree with what Ella and Rita had said about this. That, you know, to make a music video, the production probably costs thousands and thousands upon thousands of dollars. You know, time is money. Manson is a perfectionist, as any performing artist you would think would be. Of course he would be upset if you are expected to, you know, perform your job, which you're being paid to do, and then all you do is come back from Thailand or wherever you were having a modeling shoot and you just fall asleep because you weren't keeping up with your cocaine intake and because you were jet lagged. Like, I mean, I can't really say I blame him. I mean, of course he would get upset. I have a feeling, you know, I bet that you're blowing this out of proportion. That, you know, maybe he raised his voice, maybe he was just angry in general, but I doubt it was as dramatic as it's being made out to be. But like I said, time is money, and who would want to just blow thousands of dollars while waiting on you to wake up? If you were paid to do a job, your job is to follow through with that job. You know, you're supposed to be a professional. You were hired to be a professional, not to lay around and sleep while everyone else just waits for you to get up. One other thing I want to say about this whole falling asleep or wanting to fall asleep while supposed to be doing filming is I really just want to know if whenever she's went on any of these modeling shoots, if she ever did this, if she ever showed up in Thailand for a modeling shoot and was like, listen, I'm tired. I need to lay down for an hour or two before you can take my picture. My guess is she didn't, because if she had, she would have been fired. And I mean, I feel like, you know, she should just be grateful that, you know, Manson didn't take that opportunity right then and there and fire her. I mean, sure, whatever video it was they were working on never came out, but it was a legitimate video. There was legitimate money being put towards it. A lot of projects in Hollywood just, you know, and in the music industry, just never actually get made. It's just common knowledge. But I feel like, you know, she wasn't doing what she was supposed to be doing, and she took it personally. But she really needs to stop and think. If this was a modeling contract, would I have been treated the same? Well, more than likely you would have been treated worse. You would have been fired and probably offered no more projects.
He just screamed at me that I was unprofessional, that I was never gonna make it in acting, that I was a horrible actress because who would fall asleep at 3 a.m. when we were filming something so important? And I said, look, I need to sleep for a couple hours. Like, I can't do this. I'm tired. I was like, please, can I go in our bedroom? And he's like, no. And so it was very clear that I stay, and I stay awake, and I shoot, or I leave. And again, I wasn't allowed a key. So I called a friend who lived pretty close to that area, and like 5 o'clock in the morning.
I would just like to say that if she was confiscated of her phone, why did she call her friend? And how?
I don't know.
And how
Yeah,
did her
yeah,
friend know?
it's on and also that thing about him screaming that she was a bad actress and this and that, and how can you not stay awake?
Yeah.
First of all, again, she claims and she says there were people there and they were filming. Again, she's claiming that nothing of that happened, yet she's saying here it did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were people watching, there were people seeing this, hearing him scream to her and whatnot. But you also have to remember that this costs money.
Yeah.
If you are tired and not keeping up with your cocaine intake, I'm gonna assume you don't look too well and you don't feel too well. You might not give the best performance also.
Yeah.
That could be frustrating for people who's going to work with you, and it costs money. So if he behaved like that, there are people who witnesses are there.
Yeah.
And also, even if he would be angry because she must have felt like shit again because she was strung out from not using cocaine, I can understand the frustration there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no.
I think the both of us would have been pretty angry if someone would fall asleep during a photo shoot or a film shoot or whatever.
Yeah,
because it costs money and it takes time.
Yeah, exactly. Usually there's a timeline. You have to do this in a certain amount of time because it costs that much. And if she's, again, not keeping up with her cocaine intake, she's not gonna look nice, and she's most likely not gonna do a good performance. That's money in the drain. So
yeah.
That would be frustrating for most people.
Yeah, that's honestly kind of unprofessional if you ask me. Very unprofessional, actually.
Yeah. And again, she had her phone,
Yeah.
apparently this time, so.
Yeah.
I was in lingerie. I put on maybe a sweatshirt or something and I left.
But like many victims of domestic violence, Ashley had a hard time ending the relationship. She continued to see Manson during his tour breaks throughout 2012 until January 2013 when she was finally able to break free.
I left and never looked back. And I erased his number. I deleted every email. I deleted every photo. That was the beginning of suppressing everything that had happened with him. And I have really bad OCD, but like the main thing that I do is my main fears are cleaning and contamination. And I feel like my whole existence since him has been trying to wash him off of me or out of me, or like he's still in me and I'm still dirty of him.
This last clip, she tries to drive it home. She just tries to drive it home. You know, she has all this horrible OCD that she alleges, that she alleges is partially Manson's fault, that she can't get herself clean of him and things like that. All I really want to say about this is I just want to reference Manson's statement. I want to reference the fact that he had said that he had spent no more than a week with her. And here she's going on saying that this lasted until January 2013. I don't know. I just don't see it. I believe Manson.
What do you have to say?
Well, just the way she explains everything, how she has to wash him out of her.
Yeah.
Her face, it doesn't look like she feels, it doesn't look like she feels disgusted. It doesn't sound like she has spent 7 years, because it ended 2013 and it's supposedly they all came together 2020, fall of 2020. So she's claiming she has spent 7 years trying to wash him out of her. Because she feels dirty. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like she has done that. And it doesn't sound, she doesn't sound credible. She doesn't look credible.
No, definitely not.
No, she went back to him again. And she's making it sound, this whole thing is sounding like she was stuck with him for 3 years in that apartment, just following his lead. But she wasn't back and forth working. She had every opportunity to actually walk away from him, to never come back. And she even said in this interview that there were people when her broken nose who asked her, like, what happened? That was a time for her to actually just say, yeah, he broke my nose, my partner broke my nose, he abuses me and whatnot. I'm sure she would have gotten help to get out.
Yeah.
It's just too many contradictions. It sounds like she's making stuff up.
Yeah.
And she trips on her own lies. And she doesn't really remember the script. So she's adding a bit of shit in this as no.
Yeah, it's
that's
like
my take.
Yeah, I agree. It's like she's pulling things out of her ass just to like fill out the things that she missed in the script or whatever. And judging by her body language through the whole thing, she doesn't look credible and she doesn't sound credible. given the fact that she laughed in our faces just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
So, and oops, and she went back to him and she supposedly removed every photo and email and whatever. Doesn't look like it.
No, I mean, all of the photos, which there's not that many actually in this
No.
interview, but the few are apparently from her.
Yeah.
So again, she's lying, and
Yeah.
there's some email she claims is from him with some blood pacts, whatever it was. I don't remember quite. So she
Yeah.
didn't delete. So she's lying. She's lying as she's doing this interview again. I deleted every photo, I deleted every email, every text message. Apparently not, because this People magazine interviewer has some photos of you and him together. So
Yeah.
apparently
And
we didn't know.
yeah, I think that she even posted a selfie of her and Manson to get on her Facebook and Instagram in like 2018 with the
Yeah.
caption, "He's my ex."
Yeah, so it's just, she's obviously lying.
Yeah.
And it's funny that she's actually doing it. It's so ridiculous that in this interview she has contradicted herself several times.
Yeah. And
In this interview. And if you compare it with her lawsuit, it's even more. So
yeah. You're Ashley's not doing too good.
no, no.
And it's not a good feeling. I don't feel sorry for myself, and I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor. Like, of course I'm strong. I'm sitting here and I'm talking about this so other girls don't go through this. Like, I'm strong at this point. And everyone says, like, what is your end outcome? Like, what do you have to gain? I would say, like, I want him to get better. I want him to be rehabilitated. He's not gonna be ever. He's just not. I'm sorry. He's been doing this for 30 years. He's been doing this his whole life. I mean, from stories, he abused animals when he was little. He's a sick person. He's not gonna get better. So I'd like him behind bars, never doing this to another woman again. Man, woman, anyone. I want this to reach more people than anything. I want middle America, I want other countries. I want as many people to know who he is and what he is. And I want it to stop.
Okay, you can start.
Where? Oh, this is ridiculous. I mean, she says he can't be rehabilitated. He's been doing this for 30 years. How can she know? According to her, she was with him from 2010 to 2012, 13, who knows? And then she says he's been doing this all his life. I don't know if she's basing that on the book, the first book that came out.
Yeah.
He's abusing animals and whatnot. Doesn't look like it. I think his cats, they look like they're doing well and have done well and
Yeah.
died of natural causes or like old age.
Yeah. It's really sad though.
Yeah, of course that's sad, but it happens. We all gonna, unfortunately, we're all gonna die. They didn't die of abuse, so unfortunately,
Yeah.
animals die sooner than humans. But yeah.
Yeah. And speaking about animals, I think he had dogs as well for a while because Rose had dogs, I think. They didn't look
Okay.
they didn't look abused to me. I mean, it looked like, and for the years that they were alive, they looked fine. I mean, I don't know the backstory, but it seemed like he would he took very well care of them, like they were his actual children.
I where she gets that from. And again, she's claiming that he's done this all his life. How does she know? What is she basing that on? I don't understand. It's just ridiculous.
Probably his book, which is mostly fictional.
Yeah. So no, it's just stop it. And she's like, I have nothing to gain from this. Yes, you have. You're suing him for money.
Didn't she or one of the other girls say that in a comment or something like that a while ago? I think they did, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, there was a girl who didn't they get paid? She said they were offered money to come forward. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently you're gaining something and you're gaining publicity, and she's gaining, I think if I remember correct, in the lawsuit she's suing him for money. So yeah, you're gaining something by doing this. You're not doing this out of the goodness of your heart, so no other woman will be abused. He's married.
He's happily married. She's
So
literally called him the love of his life, so
just ridiculous. She's getting, to me it sounds like they're just after money. So
yeah, and the fact that she keeps flaunting and promoting her photo shoot that she did with people on social media, as if this kind of stuff is something good or something to be proud of or to be bragging about. It's honestly kind of disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, all this media attention around this it doesn't seem, and to me it doesn't look like they're doing it to help others. They're doing it to help themselves, to get credibility and to get and therefore look like they have a stronger case and hopefully get money. I think they want him to fold and say, okay, let's cut this deal and how much money do you want? But he's not doing it, so that's good.
Yeah.
But they want money. She wants money. She's gaining something. I mean, it's ridiculous to say she's not gaining anything from it.
Yeah, I think she did. Yeah, she just said that basically. She's not getting from it, but telling him, so you're gonna get cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's from his pocket as well. So
she's suing him for money. So yeah, you're gaining. That's what you want to gain.
Yeah.
All of this is just ridiculous. It's a cluster of contradictions. Just inside this interview, she's contradicting herself several times. And if you compare it to the other interview we're gonna perhaps go through another time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's contradicting herself there, and she's contradicting herself in her lawsuit as well. So if we compare everything, it's just so many things that doesn't add up.
Yeah.
It just doesn't sound, and the way she laughs when she's talking about abuse, and I mean, it's just weird. It's just not normal behavior, not normal reaction to abuse, to laugh. So yeah, it's just.
And her body language is very contradicting as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And haters are probably gonna say that she was anxious and shit, but no.
She should be really comfortable in front of the camera. She's a model. She, of all people, should be comfortable. I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. No way whatsoever. Yeah, it's sure. I'm sure everyone can see it. And I also have to emphasize this is not my first language, and it's not yours.
No, we're both Swedes.
Forgive our English.
Yeah.
She is a person who is comfortable. I'm gonna say she's comfortable in front of the camera. She's a model. She's been a model for several years.
Mm.
There's no point for her to be anxious, and she's saying herself that I feel stronger now. So that, and again, her working as a model should. No, I don't think she's anxious. She looks like she's having fun even because she's laughing.
And the continuous smiles and smirks.
Yeah, so to me, she doesn't look uncomfortable. It
No.
looks like she's trying to, several times it looks like she's trying to think about what the hell was I supposed to say?
Yeah.
But she doesn't look uncomfortable talking about the abuse because she's laughing.
No.
The alleged abuse, I should say.
Yeah.
So,
I think they said that in the interview as well. The alleged abuse happened. Blah 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 blah.
So yeah, no, this is interesting interview to see
Yeah.
the body language and just the way she's talking and smirking, and it's also funny to just hear her contradicting herself several times, and if you compare it again to, yeah, no.
And the fact that she's cherry picking stuff, especially numbers. She's really good at that.
That is just ridiculous. That 20 to 300 times is just ridiculous. And she's trying to portray, trying to make him weird, strange. As she was saying several times, repeating it several times, he was odd, he looked odd, and it was dark in his home. He had weird furniture, or strange furniture, something like that she was saying. Like, what? He had a chair, a sofa, perhaps, a bed. How is that strange furniture? What the hell was strange furniture to her? I don't understand.
No,
Explain.
Yeah. It's like she's speaking of that he had the Iron Maiden in his house. That would be strange furniture, but what is she speaking about?
She's not. She doesn't tell us what the strange furniture is.
No.
So I mean, yeah, no.
There are a lot of things she doesn't tell us.
Yeah, this whole thing is just ridiculous. This whole interview is ridiculous. I don't find it credible at all.
No, and especially not since. No, you keep talking.
I think that she took cocaine was credible. I believe that. I believe she had not kept up with her cocaine intake. I believe that because I'm sure that's. So yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah, same. Honestly, same. But she would have probably looked like trash after constantly taking cocaine for 2 or 3 years straight.
Yeah, it's not good. That doesn't do good on the body. So yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah, this whole interview is just. I've lost so many brain cells.
yeah, it's. I don't want to watch it again, to be honest.
No,
maybe. For now, but yeah, no, yeah, this is just. It's not credible at all to me.
So it's ridiculous.
But we're gonna continue this, and we're gonna also go through the other interview.
Yeah, I think so. Everyone has time to do so.
Yeah, that will be fun.
Yeah, interesting to say the least.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, well, we should wrap up
Yeah.
and subscribe.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost.
100%.
We're gonna be better at this, but for now, this is what you get.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see you some other time then.
Bye bye.
Thank you for watching the video, and we're going to be doing more videos in the future. I think the next one we're going to be going over the view video next, so stay tuned for that, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more organized than this one. This was our first attempt, so thanks for hanging out with us this long if you've made it this long, and like and subscribe, and thank you very much. Hope you all have a terrific day, and aren't too brain dead from this interview of Ashley.